Yeah. Hey. Any errors or omissions on the minutes? Councillor Chapman moves minutes as presented. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Then we have 3.2, organizational meeting minutes of October 22, 2018. Councillor Holm? Okay, well, good job on the mic as well. Thank you. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? All right. All right. Okay, we have 215. So we have 6.1, land use bylaw amendment. Spencer's here. No, that we're going to do 6.2. We can't do that yet. 6.2. Go ahead, Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon to you and members of council. I'll keep these brief. Essentially, Land Use Bylaw Amendment 749-P-11-18 is proposing that the zoning for the west half of the southwest of 15920, which is the west half of the quarter section that's accommodating the Malloy Phase 2A project. The west half of that quarter section, in accordance with the annexation process, is currently a county zoning, rural urban fringe. And as a matter of due process, we're simply bringing this forward to council to see if we can have that changed to urban reserve, which is the town's holding district, until more detailed plans are understood for the residential development in that area. So at this time, staff would recommend first reading be issued for this proposed bylaw and a public hearing date be set. Thank you.
Any questions through the Spencer then? Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Worship. I'll move for first reading.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay. Everybody's in favor. First reading pass. Okay, and then 6.3. Go ahead, Spencer.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So proposed bylaw 750P-11-18 is very similar to bylaw 749, although in this case it's on the east half of the southwest of 15920. So that's the area covering, the 80 acres covering the Malloy Phase 2A project area and remaining undeveloped areas in that piece of land. In this instance, the appropriate zoning would be from rural urban fringe. Again, that's a county zoning, to institutional recreational, which is the town's most appropriate zoning for that type of development in that area. So again, at this time, the recommendation would be first reading with a date set for a public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions through the Spencer? Okay. Councillor Simpson?
I'll move for option number 1 that we do first reading and have a public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Everybody voted in favor. All right, and then we have, well, Spencer, you're on a roll. You might as well be there for 7.1. The minor hockey.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So this item is before council because of discussions that minor hockey has had with town staff. And at the staff level, we've brought to the attention of minor hockey that just last year there was a similar request, a little bit different in the physical elements of what's being requested, but similar in the sense that there's a desire to have one of the dressing rooms, in this case dressing room 5, essentially branded with the minor hockey logo. So what was brought to minor hockey's attention is that there was whether it's perceived or real, for lack of a better term, a precedent set regarding how the Copperheads were able to sponsor dressing room 7, in that they put 5 for 25, so a total of $25,000 over 5 years as funding to the town to honor the sponsorship agreement that's been created for those new dressing rooms. Essentially, minor hockey is asking for a branding of their dressing room, albeit in this case it's just a logo on the door instead of the whole room being done up in their team colors and whatnot. They're asking for a type of branding on that room, and they're asking for an exception to the 5 for 25 program in order to do that. And as far as I'm concerned, that's outside of staff's purview. So the recommendation was made to write this letter and bring it forward to council for council consideration.
I think like this is a relatively new request and has a little bit more complexity than what might be presented on the surface. So I'd like a bit more time to wait through this a bit, because I think it has more repercussions and nuances than we can really, and I'm not saying that in any disrespect to anybody presenting the report or making the request, but I don't think we've started the season now and probably wouldn't be in a position to really move forward with anything until the new season were to come into place anyway. So I think we have some time to give this some more thorough thought process to make sure that we're not unintentionally hurting anybody in this process and that. And so I if council agrees, I support a recommendation to table this for until a little bit later, so we can get a little bit more information and make sure that we're treating all parties fairly in that. Because, Copperheads did spend serious money, almost achieving the same thing in that. And so that's my thoughts anyway. Councillor Chapman?
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Worship. Just through to Spencer, if I may. Dressing rooms 5 through 7. Those are the ones that we established the policy on the 5 for 5, is that correct?
I don't have exact details on that program. It occurred a couple of years before I came on board with the town. I think it might be rooms 4 to 7. Is that accurate?
What, 4 through 7? Okay.
Yes.
The other point that I'd kind of like to make is that I would like to just have council understand that this could be a precedent setting for stepping out of this sphere of sponsorship. And so, in fairness to those who have already sponsored a room, that others may want to do the same thing in the same light. And obviously it does present itself as a way of funding other programs or other particularly infrastructure for the arena. If we're looking at a second sheet of ice, this is really what we're focusing on.
Kalen, you had a comment?
Just wanted to add a little bit more background information. So there are 4 dressing rooms, the 4 new ones being constructed on the east part of the arena, dressing rooms 4 through 7. One of the dressing rooms, I believe in 2012, was sponsored by the Coaldale Community Wellness Association with the 5 for 25. The terms of the logo and signage impact on their dressing room, it was fairly minimalist. There was a sign inside and a sign on the door. We also sold one last year to the Copperheads. Theirs was a bit more thematic in terms of the colors. The only comment I'll make is that if you tie up a dressing room without charging, you're limiting the number of fundraising opportunities available to the town for future capital upgrades of the rink. That's all.
Any other thoughts? Councillor Holm?
This discussion to a future date
Okay,
for more
we have
information.
We have a motion by Councillor Holm to table. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, and 7.2, thank you, Spencer. Galen, you want to add anything to 7.2?
Well, this is certainly a good news update. We did apply for a grant through Alberta Infrastructure to receive partial funding for an underpass on the Jail Road as partial completion of the Link Regional Pathway that'll be constructed between Coaldale and the city of Lethbridge along the St. Mary River Irrigation District's canal right-of-way through Lethbridge County. So this, to me, is a strong endorsement from the province toward the merits of the project. We have a funding completion date of 2 years from the date of receiving the funds to construct the underpass. So the Link Regional Pathway Society is working actively on additional fundraising efforts to come up with the remainder 50% funding for that underpass. But that'll provide a safe means for people to cross that highway, especially when there aren't any signalized controls along that roadway.
Any questions through the Kalen? Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, Worship. Through to Kalen, just in light of what you informed us, in order to fulfill the grant, then could the Link Committee go ahead with that underpass as a priority before any other fundraising, if they need to do that before any other fundraising takes place? Just so that it capitalizes this grant rather than trying to defer the other monies to other areas of the Link pathway.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll help by receiving funds in this manner. It'll help prioritize the different stages of the project for sure.
Just to receive for information, sure.
Accept this letter for information.
Okay, Councillor Chapman moves for information. All in favor?
Just add one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Right below the funding confirmation for the underpass, under the same program but a different wing, the town received an $881,000 grant to rebuild 8th Street North to serve as the main entrance into the industrial park. So it'll be built to an industrial standard given the type of activity that it'll be servicing, but it'll also moonlight as a heavy load corridor for the province. So we're quite excited to be one of the first urban municipalities to receive funding under this stream for that purpose.
Congratulations to the administrative people that played a role in that. I think Andrea did a lot of work on writing that application and breaking that precedent. So well done to administration. Okay, and now I think we are at a point where we can open the public hearing for the land use bylaw amendment 748P10-18. And Spencer, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the purpose of bylaw 748P-10-18 is to redesignate lands legally described as a portion of the southeast of 10-9-20 west of the 4th meridian, containing approximately 13.6 hectares or 33.7 acres. The zoning currently in place is urban reserve, and as based on the details of the area structure plan that's currently in place for that quarter section, the majority of the area in question would go from urban reserve to residential R1A, and a portion that is going to be used for open space and storm catchment would go to institutional and recreational. This proposed rezoning was advertised in the Sunny South on October 16th and 23rd. No information was received by staff in objection or support of the application or the rezoning. And at this time, the recommendation would be to provide second and third reading to the bylaw to allow for the zoning change to take place.
Okay. Is there any questions through the Spencer on what he, Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Spencer, there wasn't a map attached to this, but I am assuming that that's the lands just north of the stormwater or the retention pond.
Through the chair to Councillor Chapman, thank you for the question. I've just noticed, looking at the report, that the map didn't make it on for the council agenda. There is a Schedule A that shows the exact area, and it does include the storm pond catchment area and the residential area around the storm pond.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any members in the gallery that have want to make a presentation either for or against the land use bylaw that we're considering right now? I don't see any. Okay. Is there any further questions of council? I don't see any. In that event, seeing that there's nobody here representing the for or against side of this equation, I'll close the public hearing, and then we can move on to item 6.1. Councillor Chapman.
For second reading.
Okay. Councillor Chapman moves second reading of the bylaw. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, everybody voted in favor. Councillor Chapman.
I guess I'll move for third reading then.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you.
And next on deck, we have Terry May for 8.1. Welcome, Terry.
Provide a staff report on some of the operations that have happened through October. We completed all the alley grading through October. We also have a list of the top 10 or 15 alleys that are the most in need of improvement. Point of order.
You want to start all over again?
Yeah, sure. Sure. We'll, I apologize. Just to give an overview of our what the operations department has been up to through the month of October, and just some of the highlights. So the alley grading was finished in October. We were able to get through all the alleys and repair 2 of them, and we came up with a list of the worst alleys in town, 10 to 15 of the worst alleys. There is a map attached to the report as well. 30th Street, we did do some patching on 30th Street. There is more to come yet, as long as the weather stays as it is. We should have a couple more patches of the really wavy, pardon me, the really wavy asphalt that's there. And we are doing still some pothole fixing further down. Got kind of delayed last week. We should have had it finished, but we'll be doing some cold mix patching of some of the bigger potholes further south. 8th Street South. 8th Street South is in bad shape if you've driven down it, but we are trying some different things to patch some of the holes so that it's at least drivable and maintainable for the winter, and then we'll have to reevaluate in the summer or in the spring again. We were grading 8th Street North as well. There's a lot of traffic on there. It's got really rutted. And the manholes on 13th Street, I know, was a concern from some residents, and they've been lowered now. The one's just south of Baker. There was 2 quite raised ones that we finished just recently. So this is just for information.
Councillor Avery.
Thank you, Worship. First of all, Terry, I'd like to thank you and your staff for all your hard work throughout the summer. The town has looked very good. So with this report on our back alleys, would it be appropriate for us to ask for a comprehensive report to see if our infrastructure can handle moving the garbage pickup back into the back alleys rather than having front yard pickup? Because on your map you've identified 10 to 15 of the worst alleys. Is that meaning that the infrastructure can't handle it, or just over the next 12 months they need to be maintained to be able to move the garbage pickup back to the back alleys?
Everybody wants an answer for Terry, go ahead, Kalen.
We are working on a report that addresses those questions, and it should be ready for the council meeting of November 26th.
Thank you.
Well, took all the air out of your balloon there, right?
I was ready to go.
Okay. All right, and so I think probably be in order to have a motion to receive just for information and direct that report come forward though nonetheless. So do you want to
Yes,
sponsor
I'd
that?
make that motion to accept Terry's report as information and look forward to getting a comprehensive report at our next council meeting on the back alley conditions and possible moving the garbage pickup.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And then Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, and through to Terry again. And just in follow-up with Councillor Avery's comments, I certainly want to thank you as well for all your hard work with the alley maintenance program. As I've said at our capital budget and at our retreat, that I'd like to see a robust program established for the maintenance of back alleys. So this won't be just a one-time event where people will move their bins to the front for the purpose of, but that they will understand that the future will continue in that vein, that they would understand that maybe on a semi or once every 2 years or whatever program you establish, that they would be guaranteed that their alleys would be brought back to a certain level again, or a certain standard.
I could answer that. It's a lot of them just weren't built originally with the proper gravel structure. There are a lot of clay, so weather tends to affect them pretty badly. Makes them difficult to travel through. The ones we've listed here are the ones that are really just dirt. Short of very little gravel. So our process would be to dig out 6 to 8 inches and put in gravel. We did rebuild 2 this year, which is the first 2 we've rebuilt in, well, since I've been here. And they went very well. Notices went out to the residents that we were doing it. Didn't have any feedback on it, and we were in and out within the week. So, and we will continue to upgrade 2 to 3 every year as far as an operational budget. If we want to do more, if we want to tackle some of them, then that's just kind of what this is for, just that information.
Just in that vein then, Your Worship, Terry, I would certainly recommend that you build that into a budget process so that it doesn't get neglected as in years prior.
Okay, and we have Councillor Avery's motion to receive the report for information and to direct the full detailed report of front alley, back alley pickup to be brought forward at the November 26th council meeting. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Thanks for your report, Terry.
Thank you.
And then we have item 8.1, we have development stats from Cindy. Self-explanatory, basically. So, but any questions that anybody, comments, questions anybody might have with respect to item 8.2? Councillor Chapman with.
Through to Spencer, with the new housing starts by subdivision, so you've got like Cottonwood Estates, phase 1 through 6 and 7. There's no numbers there. Does that mean that they're all full, or that there has been no development?
Through the chair to council, it could mean both. Off the top of my head, I know that a number of the initial stages in Cottonwood are full. So likely in that particular instance, there's no more lots left to be had. In other instances, a blank space would be a zero new development space.
Okay, does anybody care to receive that for information? Councillor Simpson moves receipt of that report for information. Any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Okay. Then we have a couple seconds, so not to, if anybody wants to be more wholesome in discussing any of the information items, feel free to do so, but if not, does anybody have any particular interest in any of the items 11.1 to 11.7? I would entertain a motion to receive Councillor Lloyd. Councillor Lloyd moves receipt of 11.1 through to 11.7 in total for information. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay. Thank you. So we're getting on to, do we have all the people that we're going to be speaking to the rec working group then? Okay, Spencer, do you want to introduce the people that are?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to introduce to council, I think everyone knows everyone, but on behalf of the Sport and Rec Working Group, Danny Clark, who's sitting beside me, and Christina Tanaka, who I would invite up as well, is going to be saying a few words on recommendation that they'd like to bring forward to council regarding the work that the group's been doing up to now.
Okay, well, yeah, go ahead and join Danny up there. And
You're reading it.
okay, well, thank you, Danny and Christina, and please, on behalf of council, if you get a chance, please relay council's thanks to the other members of the working group. I know that because of work schedules and that, not all of them could be here as much as they probably would all love to join in on your report, but we really appreciate the work that the group did.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, my name is Danny Clark. To the Mayor and Council, over the past year, the Sports and Recreation Working Group has been exploring the question of what Coaldale's current and future sport and recreational needs may be, and how they may be met. The work done with the group and the results of the Sports and Recreation Needs Assessment Survey provided some guidance about what facilities should be the priority. Recently, the group was made aware of a proposed partnership between the town and Palliser School Division for a new high school that has a multi-sport recreation complex attached to it. With the opportunity for a new high school in Coaldale and a new multi-sport recreation facility, the Sport and Recreation Working Group would like to conclude its efforts by providing full support to the town and to the school division for the development of the proposed high school and multi-sport complex. The group also encourages the town and division to include new outdoor facilities that will serve the needs of high school and community sport and recreation programming, such as a multi-use field for football, soccer, lacrosse, rugby, and other sports that are compatible with a similar type of field. In addition to written support for the school and multi-sport recreation facility, the Sport and Recreation Working Group wishes to offer continued support by transitioning to an advisory role regarding the needs of the various user groups and how the multi-sport facility could accommodate them. Various members of the working group are involved with some of the user groups in town, and where there is not a direct connection to a specific user group, the working group would like to offer to assist staff with the community outreach efforts to ensure all user groups are accounted for in the detailed design options for the multi-sport facility. Beyond the partnership between Palliser School Division and Coaldale, there may be other logical and fruitful partnerships that could be incorporated into the proposal, such as affordable senior housing adjacent or near to the school recreation facility. The working group encourages the town and the school division to investigate other opportunities for partnerships to meet the needs of the greatest variety of citizens possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. And Christine, did you say you wanted to add any words, or?
No, it says it all. It was an awesome opportunity. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
Good. And I don't, any questions or comments to the Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to the group here. I want to thank you as well for your complete support towards this project, and to the town and to the school division for its vision for moving forward. I'm just curious, in your letter here under your second paragraph, the last sentence, you refer to multi-use fields such as football, soccer, lacrosse, and rugby and such. What are your aspirations for the multiplex facility in terms of indoor soccer? Is that one of your thoughts with that facility?
It is. We definitely need an indoor pitch for soccer, for football, who could use it for indoor training. Baseball could even use it indoor. They've expressed interest as well. With the indoor soccer, we would look to build a modern style pitch is what we're hoping to. I understand it has to go to proposal, but we would like to see a 7 versus 7 style pitch with no boards. There are many risks that are being involved with soccer right now with a boarded facility, and we would like to do something different, which is where soccer in the province is going right now. And with the style of pitch that we would like to incorporate into this facility, baseball would absolutely love it because it would provide a batting cage for them as well. Football would love it because it's an enclosed space and would be an all-around good use facility for everyone.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for what I hope is only phase one of your labors, and I appreciate the offer to continue carrying the torch on the transitional phase, so that's awesome. So very good. It's nice to have the community support and input the way your group generated it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
A motion to receive for information. Councillor Pauls, all in favor? Okay. All right. And so we're done the public portion, so I entertain a motion to go into closed session. Councillor White moves us in closed session. All in favor?